Hello YouTube, this is time for video number 2. I will be talking about what happened to me ever since I've announced that I'm an atheist to my family. In my first video I explained why I became an atheist, uh, and since then I have told my family that I'm an atheist. Well, their response, some of it didn't surprise me. I got called stupid more times than I can count. Uh, was like, oh really? I know what my IQ is, so I don't really give a shit if they think I'm stupid. But what hurt was that my own father would tell me that I was stupid, an idiot. And I knew he would, but it still hurt. That's my father. Do I think less of him for it? I don't think less of him as a father, but I do think less of his intellect. If that makes any sense to you. You know, because they put across this attitude where if you don't believe, shut the fuck up. Don't tell anyone. Because they don't want to break this little bubble that there might not be a God. And they all go off this little Pascal's wager. Well, what if you're wrong? What if there is a God? Well, then you're fucked. Well, what if I am wrong and there is a God? I'm still not fucked because it's not the God of the Bible. At all. No way. There was no hell in the Old Testament. Actually, the word hell is a mixture of the word Sheol and Hades. The word hell did not even exist until the Greeks were occupying Israel. Go figure. And it wasn't even a place of torture until the New Testament. So this idea that I'm not going to get into all the things that I can use to debunk Christianity, but there it is. Number one, explain that if you're Christian. Or Muslim for that matter. Because that alone means that I don't have anything to worry about. That alone debunks Pascal's wager, is that hell was made up in the New Testament or the Quran, if that's what you want to call it. It was not in the Old Testament or in the Torah. There was no place of torment there. So even if there is a God, and it's not the God of the Bible because he's an angry megalomaniac who gives you free will and then expects you not to use it, and then gives you logic and expects you not to use it. So it's not the God of the Bible. Couldn't be. So if there is a God, the worst that's going to happen to me is that I reincarnate into like a fucking goat or something. Okay, I'm cool with that. you know? Uh, I'm completely fine with that. But I don't think there is a God at all. Because if there was a God, he could have made the entire universe in 6 days, but we know that didn't happen. We also know that water is the second most common molecule in the entire universe. So, if water is the second most common molecule in the entire universe, I'd say chances are pretty good that life is a little bit more common than what we think. Maybe not intelligent life, but I do think that life is got to be pretty common, even if it's just in the form of bacteria, across the universe. Or tardigrades, which can survive naked in the vacuum of space, and can also survive 100 years without water. Look it up. So yeah, so they call me stupid, whatever. What was more surprising, though, than just being called stupid was the burden of proof that was put on me for not just my belief in that there is no God, but any belief that I hold, any moral value I have, I now have to have absolute, complete burden of proof. There is no compromise with these people. They don't have to provide me the proof, but I have to provide it to them. Uh, One example would be, and I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you how the arguments would go, or the debates would go before I told everyone why that I was an atheist. Global warming. I was debating this with a few of my family members. Um, not a single one of them could prove me wrong because, well, they believe that global warming isn't real, and of course it is. And so I could quote them experiments where carbon dioxide has raised the temperatures of closed areas where where it would be like 10 to 20 degrees higher than just a bottle with oxygen in it, even though they were exposed to the same stuff except one had carbon dioxide in it. That's beside the point. You know, I could actually bring up the facts on them, and they still wouldn't buy the facts. So I showed them. So and they kept insisting, well, there's this debate, and I said, no, there's not, and so I finally just showed them a link to NASA.gov where they show what the consensus of scientists is, and they didn't really have much to say after that because it said 97% of all climatologists and geologists agree on global warming. So where's this debate? Who in the scientific community is having this debate? Well, there's still that 3%. Well, that 3% is all working for petroleum companies. And I demonstrated that when everyone that they would quote, I linked back to a petroleum company. It's pretty common sense. But they respected that, and eventually they respected my view. They did not demand that I have perfect knowledge of They did not demand that I have perfect knowledge of the history of our climate. They did not demand that I have a degree in climatology or geology. They did not demand that I be a meteorologist. I was able to present them the evidence, and they didn't necessarily agree with it, but they were able to respect my opinion for it. But now, after I'm an atheist, I post something on Facebook about, because just this week, Minnesota decided that they were going to increase the state minimum wage, which, that's the state I live in. So I'm pretty happy about that because that means the economy here is going to get better. Uh, and so I said, this is a good thing on Facebook. But now instead of just being able to argue with them and demonstrate to them how in other countries and in other states, when the minimum wage has been raised, it has done good things for the economy overall. Um, but but that's not good enough for them now. Now I need to have a complete savant, perfect knowledge of everything that Confucius taught, everything that Machiavelli believed in, everything that Karl Marx believed in. I have to have the Book of Marx memorized. I have to read books on why a utopian society doesn't work because, supporting a minimum wage is supporting a utopian society. And my uncle actually said to me that that socialism does not work. And I said, you're absolutely right, but I'm not supporting socialism. And then he accused me of changing the subject, which I didn't. He's the one that brought up socialism. That's that's the kind of bullshit that I'm dealing with. I wouldn't have to deal with this level of stupidity and demanding of the facts. And they couldn't disprove anything that I said. They're just like, well, you have to read these books. You have to know how the Roman Empire fell, which I do, by the way, and I have read the Book of Marx. I haven't read Machiavelli's papers because I really don't give a shit. And they said I have to know why the Greek democracy didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. But they don't. They say, oh, well, your statements indicate that you don't know a fucking thing. Okay, all I said is that minimum wage is going to be good for the economy because more people are going to have more money. And then they say, oh, well, it's going to cause rampant inflation. Well, inflation happens anyway. So, it's not complicated. So the option is let the poor people get poorer, let those who are already in poverty get more fall more and more in poverty every year as the cost of living continues to increase and never decrease. Or we could raise the minimum wage and start giving everybody wage increases and cost of living increases to keep up with this trend. That would make more sense than, we're just going to let you guys starve because uh, Machiavelli and Confucius. Okay. So the fact that they expect that I have to have such savant knowledge of economics, and I need to know this, I need to know how this works from every possible angle, just to support the raise of a minimum wage, is mind-blowingly stupid. And I even told them that, I even demonstrated that to them. I told them, this is what you're demanding of me for this opinion. That's pretty fucked up. And that's pretty much where the conversation ended. But yeah, so this is some of the stuff that I'm dealing with ever since telling everybody, admitting to them that I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I don't believe we go to some magical place when we die. It's a nice thought. I wouldn't be opposed to a heaven if it was plausible, but it's not. So I don't believe in one. Why? Because I don't like willful ignorance, which of course is what I was accused of in the minimum wage debate, was willful ignorance. Um, but whatever, you know. Uh, so that's what I've been going through. I'm not trying to nitpick or complain or try to get sympathy. I want people to know that this is this if you're going to tell people that you're an atheist, these are the consequences. And you need to decide for yourself, is it worth it? To me, it is absolutely worth it because now I know, because now I can see what people are really like. Now I know who I can trust. I know whose word I can take to the bank. If they tell me something is a fact, I'll know that it's either true or I need to go check it because it might not be true. So I guess, and I'm not the kind of person that likes lying about what I believe just to fall in line. That's not who I am. So whatever. I will be making more videos. My next video is going to be about evolution. I'm going to provide all the evidence I know about evolution and probably some more because I'll probably find more as I'm researching for this. I'm going to be talking about the genetic mutations. I'm going to be talking about the fossil record. I'm going to present pictures of the fossil record. I'm also going to talk about vestigial structures, so stuff that are body parts that we don't use, like wisdom teeth, tailbones, appendixes, vestigial structures in other creatures as well. I'm going to, and I want to make it comprehensive. I want to show how incredibly overwhelming the evidence is. So, and I'd love to see a creationist try to debunk that and tell me that it's full of gaps. Because I think that the main problem with a lot of religious people is that they don't understand the theory of evolution. They think that we magically go from monkey to man, but that's not the case. Anyone who believes in evolution and knows about it knows that that's not the case. But that seems to be what the religious think evolution is. So I'm going to debunk that claim rather thoroughly. There will be other videos in the future. You won't have to see my ugly face in all of them, as my webcam, as you can see, is not the greatest quality, and I'm not using like a great video player, so a lot of it's just going to be me talking with pictures, like kind of like what the Thinking Atheist does, or what Thunderfoot used to do. Not that I would compare myself to them. So feel free to hit the subscribe button as well. That's pretty much it for today. Like I said, there are more videos coming. So hit subscribe, share it with friends. If you think I have good input, give me feedback in the comments section. I would be more than grateful for it. Or yell at each other about it. hell, put Jesus as Lord in there for all I care. I think it would be kind of funny. All right, well, till next time.